Hey, good evening. Welcome, everybody. This is The Unstoppable Singer. I'm your host, Danielle Tucker. I'm a singer, a vocal coach. I'm a lead singer with the Mighty Untouchables Band. I produced and hosted the Pandemic Proof Singer Summit 1 and 2, and now am producing and hosting The Unstoppable Singer. That's what you're watching tonight. The Unstoppable Singer is an interview style show where I follow the lives of real life professional singers. And these singers have made some incredible achievements in their careers and lives. And we cover everything from voice work, making money, booking gigs, songwriting, recording, session work, and a lot more. We have a strong focus on going from surviving to thriving in this business and safeguarding our careers. So, if this sounds like something that works for you, stick around. I am about to introduce my really, really wonderful guest. It is Joanna Pearl. Joanna is an award winning international singer songwriter, born in Illinois, raised in California. She sings in the styles of pop, rock, and soul. Her influences span multiple generations like Whitney, Mariah, Celine, Carrie, all of the first name singers that we all know and love dearly. She has opened for MC Hammer and Andy Grammer. She's a feature vocalist on Chicago's latest album, Born for This Moment, on track 10, The Mermaid Song. And I'm going to have to ask her to clarify this one. As soon as she comes on, I'm going to ask about this point. But she is the co-founder, president of Make Music Temecula, which is a nonprofit mission to give the community access to music education and instruments. So without further ado, let me bring on Joanna. Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I'm great. How are you doing?
Doing so good. Thank you for having me on.
Of course. It's so good to see you. I wanted to point out that you and I have only known each other for a very short time, but have you ever had that experience where you learn of somebody, or you see them on social media, you hear of them, throughout your social circles, and you always just have that knowing that me and this person are going to get along just fine?
I think so.
I have always had that feeling about you because from one angle or another, I've known about you or been familiar with what you've done in the music community for a long, long time. We tried to connect on a show previously that didn't end up working out, but kind of had this, just stayed in touch via social media. And as it turned out, I was directing the music at the Center for Spiritual Living in Temecula Valley. And you are out in that area as well. And when I needed to step down from that position, you were the first person, you were the only person that I considered, reaching out to take the job, and not knowing a single thing about you, really. And as I suspected in our first initial conversations, I feel at least you and I clicked right away. And it ended up being such a good fit for you. And I'm so grateful for you that you stepped into that position.
No, I appreciate you so much. It was something in my journey as I was going on that it happened at the right moment. So it was such a cool thing to be able to do that. And I feel like that's one of my purposes, is to touch people through music. So it's a perfect platform.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so glad. And I hear so many rave reviews of just the work that you're doing there. So again, thank you so much for stepping into that role. I know everybody really loves you and appreciates you there. Yeah. And I think you and I are also really kindred spirits too, because you are an entrepreneur.
Definitely.
you are a businesswoman, so you speak my language. And I've always enjoyed watching the projects that you have going on. And as we all heard from your bio, you do quite a lot, lots of singing projects, lots of business projects too, and we can talk more about that. I wanted to clarify, there was one thing here in your bio, and I didn't want to say it wrong, but the bullet point is Emmy winning season 8 RuPaul drag show vocal impersonator Mariah Carey, Janet Jackson, Patti LaBelle. What is this?
So it was like a random thing that happened. I got called on. It was before COVID. Yeah, it was definitely before COVID. And it was down in LA. And they're like, we need people for, and they didn't say what it was for. They just said, we need impersonators for Mariah and this and that. And I had a couple things online and I'm like, just send it over, whatever. And it was like her, one of her last songs that it was like this really big note. And I'm like, I'm always trying to like emulate the really hardest things.
Yeah.
So I was like, I recorded, I'm like, I'm just going to stick it on my YouTube. So it's up there. And I sent them the link and they're like, okay, we love this. Can you do Janet? Which I think we all know Janet doesn't really sing. She's just kind of
Yeah, it's
a nice,
different. Yeah.
like it's very
Mhm.
interesting to try to replicate. But so they hired me to do those two voices. So I was heading out to LA and they had someone else do some other voices and they called me and they're like, can you do Patti LaBelle? And I'm like, just the hardest singer ever. Like, it's
Is that
like,
it?
sure, like let me just pull Patti LaBelle out of my hat. Like, but I did it, and I think I did it better than all of those other voices that I did for that show. And the producer was very happy about that. But that was like, oh yeah, so it was for the RuPaul Drag Race show season 8, which they won Emmys for that year. So I'm kind
Yeah.
of like in that little. It's kind of fun to see all that, but
That is so cool. I love a project that comes along like that, that just kind of stretches you beyond really
yeah,
anything that you'd ever have thought, that you would really do. I
right.
love that singing and cover music too, is that like songs that come up that I would never have picked out for myself, but then you like discover this new dimension of your voice, and that's
For sure,
always
yeah. And the thing is with those songs were they in the style of, but they wrote their own song. So now you're having to like think like that singer, like what would they do on this part? So it
Mhm.
definitely stretched me for sure, but it was good
Yeah.
to put on the resume. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I love it. So was it a voiceover or were you actually like featured on the show?
It was for the voiceover and then they
Okay.
danced to it. The
Oh, I
drag.
see. Okay.
Yeah, it was so cute when it aired. I was like, oh, that's me. They're like, oh yeah, that really is you. Like you could kind of hear me in there. So
Oh,
it's cool.
I want to check out the episode. That's so cool. I love that. Nice.
Thank
So
you.
you had another really big project come up this year, and that was
Yes.
your feature track on Chicago's latest album. Tell
Yeah.
me all about this. How did this come to
Yes.
be, and what is going on with that?
Yeah. So that actually happened like almost a year ago. And they asked me, they had this track come up, and actually the producer, Joe Thomas, he is friends with one of my friends, and I've been putting out stuff, and they're like, hey, what about this girl? And they sent it over, and Joe's like, okay, let me play it for the guys and see what they think. And then they liked my voice. I was like, okay. So there's a song, the mermaid song, which was actually written like in the 70s, and it
Mhm.
never made any of the albums, and they really wanted it to be on this album, which is the 38th album, which I don't know what
Wow.
act in the world even has 38 albums, but it's definitely something to
Rare.
strive for. And so it's a very small part, but it's I'm the mermaid on track 10, which is pretty awesome. So I made the cut, but yeah, that was like, oh, what? It's gonna be so awesome. But I'm from Chicago too. Like I was born in Chicago, raised here. The album is called Born for This Moment. It's just like the stars kind of like align, and it's like, okay, I think we're supposed to be doing this. So
Totally serendipitous. That is like
yeah,
that is so cool. I love
yeah.
that. I have to check out that track. I'm sure it's
It's
incredible,
super
but
fun. It's like a bossa nova. It's not like anything Chicago normally does,
yeah.
which makes sense why it was written, that long ago,
Okay.
but for sure.
Oh, well, congratulations on that. That
Thank
is super,
you.
super cool.
Yeah.
Well, as I mentioned before, you're an entrepreneur, you're a singer, and just for the audience, those of you that do not know Joanna, she has a kick-ass voice. It is just she has a stellar voice, and if you haven't heard her work before, please, I'll be putting all of her links in the comments. You really, really must check out her what she does. She's incredible. So, singer, you're involved in all kinds of projects. I know you do original stuff, you do cover stuff. It sounds to me like you've done some session work stuff before
Yeah.
too. And then you also have your hand in a couple of other businesses and some nonprofits. So paint a picture for me of what the day in the life of Joanna
Yours.
Pearl is, because I love for other singers to kind of see what is out there in the landscape. What kind of a life can you pull together as a professional singer in the different ways that that looks for different people?
Right. So I think it really just starts with you getting really serious about what is your purpose.
Mhm.
I think once you have that kind of mission statement, then you can kind of start pulling in things that make sense for your brand. Because if otherwise, you're just kind of spinning your wheels. And I learned
Mhm.
that the hard way. You want to say yes to everything, you want to sing for everything. Well, you kind of have to find your lane. And like I said, I think my purpose is to sing to touch people, which I call the dead zone inside of them. And only
Mm.
like certain sounds, touch people there. And apparently I can, sing those sounds. So it's like a little key and it finally, gets in there and penetrates. And sometimes tears happen, but, and it's not me. I don't take any credit for it at all. Like it's just an energy that happens and I'm just the conduit of it. But I have to
Mhm.
stay true to that. In that vein, is you have to really be protective of what you say yes to. Like when you reached out to me about the CSL TV, I literally just got done with my yoga cert and I was really going inward for a lot of things. I just got chills just saying that because then
Mhm.
this thing popped up literally like a week later. It's like, okay, I think I'm supposed to be going down this road. So you'll get the signs and stuff like that. So I've been very, protective of that. But like I said, other people that are, just trying to figure it out or they're spinning their wheels, you have to go within and figure that out. So on a
Mhm.
daily basis, I have to sit there and meditate or go for a walk, be in nature, something of that, um, to kind of hone that energy. And then
Mhm.
you go along your day with your day of meetings and writing and stuff like that. And you have to just kind of realign yourself because you'll get pulled in a lot of different directions. You'll start seeing things on social media like, well, that's cool. They're doing that. That's awesome. Like you have to
Mhm.
stay in your lane. But a day in my life is changes every single day. I work out every single day. I have a trainer. I prep my meals. I'm good about 80% of the time. I'm going to be honest with you. Um, I try and just keep my mind and body and soul in check. And then on top of that, we're performing, whether it's at the wineries or, Chino or, small gigs like that, or with the band, the 10-piece band is a lot of energy. You know that. It's like you are this conduit between the stage and the band, and that is a lot of energy. So you have to
Mhm.
honor your body and stay in bed or say, no, I can't go out. You have to be very disciplined like that. But
Mhm.
um, Thursdays are dedicated to songwriting and introducing new songs into set lists and that kind of thing. I think you just kind of come up with a schedule that works.
Mhm.
Tuesdays is rehearsal with the band. Wednesdays are kind of like a free day, but every other day there's literally something going on, or I'm on the phone or booking. It's chaotic. Every day is different. So
Yeah.
but yeah, it's just like right now it's a machine. It's literally just going and I just don't get in the way of it. You're just like, what am I doing next? So
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you really have some great processes and routines down. I mean, you have your I don't know if it's morning for you, but your morning routine
mhm,
and you're pretty intentional with everything you do. And I love just the um self-care
you have
just
to.
priority that
Mhm.
you have instilled in your life, because to be somebody, to be a total badass woman that has, the ability to stretch themselves in so many directions and do each of those things very, very well, it is just like paramount that you're taking care of yourself and that you are, making those really intentional decisions about, what you say
Thank
yes
you.
to
Yeah.
and what you say
Well,
no
I don't
to.
I don't have any children either, so that gives me a little bit of time to take care of myself. But I know you do, and that is a whole nother level of I haven't gotten to yet. So,
Yeah.
but I'm like, oh, do I want to do
It's
that?
good times.
No, it, but it definitely opens. It's like a reflection of yourself, isn't it? It's like
Mhm.
you really have another door that's opened to self-discovery when you have a child. And I think
Mhm.
that is so amazing and a journey in and of itself forevermore, because it's
Yep.
never going to go away. But that is hugely insightful. I mean,
Mhm.
for songwriting, for performing, for your purpose, it, changes a bit of direction. But I've seen some of the things you've posted on Instagram and, things that are funny or like, oh, what the hell? Like, like, but it's great that you're so honest because that's what it takes to be a great artist is you have to be able to look in the mirror and look yourself in the eye and be happy with
Mhm.
what you see and the love that you're giving. We're just such energy that, it has
Yeah.
to we have to honor ourselves, but it's each other as well in
Yeah,
respect.
that is such a great point. I mean, life is our classroom for sure, and there's
Mhm.
so many different dimensions of that. And yes, parenthood is really man, it's a the most beautiful thing in the world and the craziest thing in the world to me. And I've always said that being a parent has is like I think you just said this actually a second ago. It's like a mirror to your soul. As a mother, I've been able to see the very best side of myself and see, what I'm really made of. And then I've seen the very worst side of myself too. And
Yeah,
it is, I can say for sure that my kids teach me a lot more than I teach them.
I can
But
imagine.
I know that there are, you know, babies come in various forms throughout our life, and they can be represented by a business,
Mhm.
a relationship, just a project, songs,
Yeah.
songs that you're trying to birth and everything. But I love your perspective on that. You really do have to be attuned to that to write
Yeah,
songs.
I think it's all about life. I mean, that's what music is, right? It's just
Hmm.
emotions. And it's
Hmm.
funny, I've always said, people, men especially, will say, like, women are so emotional. It's like, well, if music is emotion, then why the hell aren't women running the music industry? Because I
Right.
think we can do a better job because we feel so many things.
Yeah.
No, it's such a gift that we have, and I'm
Hmm.
so happy. Like my latest single, "I Am Woman," was
Hmm.
such like a statement. Some of the stuff in there is some of the lines in there are super close to my heart because they happened to me, and
Hmm.
it was therapeutic to put it in the song. But being able to reclaim that power, and it's
Hmm.
nothing against men, nothing against, anyone. It's just there's so many things as a female in this industry, and I'm sure you agree, or some of the people that are listening that are women, you have to have, even today, you kind of have to have a male counterpart that looks out for you and helps
Hmm.
open those doors. Because if
Yeah.
you don't, it's almost impossible. Even still, and even I'm on a Chicago album. Yeah, okay. But
Hmm.
my guitarist can do a lot more than I can. And then you have to have team players on your team, basically, is what I'm saying. But
Hmm.
the I Am Women song is, I'm so proud of myself for putting that out because it wasn't a message that I don't think people would have thought that I would have said. And
Yeah.
so many women of all different ages have come, and I've gotten a really great response, and people using it on their Instagram for, songs, and they're showing their clothes, and they're just such confident business women. And it's
Hmm.
like that is what this is about. It's just
Hmm.
being able to do it all because we can, and we do it every single day. Like you were saying,
Yeah.
it takes so many. I'm over here, I'm over here, I'm over here, I'm over here. You have this hat on, that hat on, and we're the CEOs of our business as well,
Hmm.
our brand, and own it. Like own
Yeah.
all of it. We're very special creatures. So
Yeah.
don't play it down. Like it's too good.
Yeah.
So,
Oh my God, I love that so much. I am. behind that 1,000%. And I love the fact that you mentioned having the male counterpart or almost like an ally, in your corner. And I don't think remotely that it has anything to do with dependence or
Mhm.
um anything like that. It's to me, it's like industrious to think that way. We have this self-reliance, and I can definitely tell that, you're a woman who's very self-reliant, but you can look out at the world around you and see where the playing field is not level. And
Yes.
when you have created relationships in your life and in your business where you know that certain people within certain roles or genders or whatever, um, can play a really important hand in just collaborating with you, networking with you, partnering with you to make certain opportunities happen. That is super smart. I think it's super smart. And I want to just clarify for the conversation that it is not a dependent.
No,
It's just a smart ass move.
it's a business move for sure. And the
Mhm.
great thing about that is, and these guys are few and far between, but and I'm just gonna call it out. I mean, there's a line in my song, "And I Am Woman," that says, "Don't put your hands on me unless I'm letting you lead," because there are so many people, and I stress this so much to the younger generation of people that want to sing or be in the entertainment industry at all, is it's your sexuality is not a currency. And don't let
Mhm.
anyone tell you otherwise or make you feel otherwise, because if they do, you need to walk out the door. There's something better for you somewhere else. But in
Mhm.
that vein is what I'm talking about. Like, you have to have a bit of a shield,
Mhm.
and don't think that I know this is a very touchy subject. It's not like, oh, flowers and rainbows and stuff, but that is the truth. Like, you cannot go into a meeting or a studio by yourself. Like, you're
Right.
kind of setting yourself up for failure. So unless you genuinely know this person through and through, and even then it can be a bit iffy, but having a male counterpart and them seeing both sides of the coin, they will stick with you and they see it. And for some reason, when a man says something to another man, it means
Mhm.
more. So it is a business move in that matter, but it's so important for me to, say that to women, no matter how old you are, a lot of them being younger, because they see
Mhm.
the acts on TV and they want to be signed to the label and they want to do all these things. You have to find your purpose and your reason first. That's what it
Mhm.
comes down to. And maybe that is your purpose and reason. I don't know. I'm not you, but it's so important to keep, on point with your brand and
Mhm.
stay by that no matter what offer is given to you. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. 100%. So let's backtrack a little bit and go further back in your life where all of this began and what led to, the smart, talented person that you are today, the businesswoman that you are today. How did you get your start? Did you have a musical family, or when did all this begin for you?
well, so I kind of was raised by my grandparents, and my grandparents played all the old school music, the good, wholesome, um, it's kind of square music in my opinion, but so good, such
Mhm.
good, like Beach Boys and all that stuff. And then my mom played like Led Zeppelin and like the Rolling Stones and Aerosmith and Whitney and all these amazing country music and just so much. And apparently, when I was a child, she had a radio under my crib, so I'm
Ah.
gonna blame her for constantly having music going in my life. But,
Yeah.
I didn't have anybody in my family that was like an artist, like singing. Um, we did a lot of karaoke. That was like a staple. That was like a Thanksgiving, if we went out, maybe if there was karaoke, we would do that. That was a fun thing to do. But when I was 11 years old when I've said this before in interviews. I was 11 years old when I knew that I wanted to be a professional singer. We were
Mhm.
singing "Love Can Build a Bridge" by the Judds, and I had the lyrics in my hand, and I'm reading the lyrics, and we're singing this song, and just it just happened. Like, I want to do this. What is this? This is great. Like this music and this singing out loud and these words, and it just clicked. And so from that point forward, I was just cursed. So I was shy though as a child. I was so shy, and I was only in that choir class because I was made to be put in there. And then throughout middle school, I didn't have any kind of musical outlet choir wise, because I went to a place called Elsinore Middle School, which was super poor school. So then when I went to high school, then I joined choir, um, because of my counselor, because he was a great counselor, Mr. Wilson, and he asked the questions and he figured out, even though I was shy and stuff. But I do remember in middle school when Celine Titanic had came out, right?
Yes.
My Heart Will Go On and that whole album, and my friend got the album, the CD, and I stayed up in her room playing the CD over and over again, reading the lines on the what used to be, pull out things,
Yeah.
and figuring out every word. That was my thing. While they're out jumping on the trampoline, and I'm like, no, I need to know everything about this album. I did that with Mariah stuff, sitting there and with a tape recorder, my karaoke tape recorder on one side, waiting for the song to okay, record, and then stopping it, and then sitting and writing all the lyrics. It's just was second nature. So when I got to high school and did choir, and then went to show choir, and we were competing, and I was like, holy moly, this is awesome. Like, kind of getting out my shell. And then I tried out for American Idol second year because of Miss Kelly Clarkson. Like, her voice is amazing. Who is this woman? Yes. So I have some nice memories of camping out at the Rose Bowl with my mom and grandma all night, and getting to audition at 2 p.m. the next day and saying, I don't care what happens. Like, just I want to go home and eat.
Yeah.
And
I just want to wash my hair.
I just want to lay down and not on the street. Like, it's like, this is bizarre. So I made it to that, those channels. But it wasn't until I was 24, 25 that I became a professional singer through my producer, Thomas Barceau. And again, having a male, person in the industry helping you along is so helpful to have a mentor like that. But yeah, we started a songwriting camp. It's been going for 13 years now, very successful. And I learned how to write music and record. We would record covers and got to work with a lot of amazing people in the industry, which I had no business working with, but they were there. So it just worked out. But yeah, so when I didn't have choir in middle school, that's where my passion for the Make Music Temecula charity came from, was I wanted to make sure that the arts, mainly music, is not cut from schools. So we figure out how to fund it. We're in the beginning stages still, but being able to give instruments to children, bringing awareness, going into the schools and talking to them, and letting them know you don't, singing isn't the only thing that you can do in the music industry. There's songwriting, there's production, there's this, there's that, and just kind of painting them a picture. But also working with, I work with Supervisor Chuck Washington as well, and keeping, obviously, music is so incredibly powerful for our community, for our youth, for our sanity,
Right.
It keeps everyone kind of level and out of trouble. So we want to make sure we keep music in school.
Yeah. Wow. I respect and appreciate what you're doing with that, because that could not be more true. And it's hard to wrap my head around what it must be like for, this generation of kids coming through schools. And of course, there are still schools that do provide music, but back in my day, it was just an integral part of school.
Yeah.
You played in the band, you played in the orchestra, you sang in choir, you had music class, you had all of those things. And I was extremely fortunate to have those things all the way through high school even. And I'm 100% sure that choir was really the only reason I graduated from high school.
Right. Yeah.
That was my incentive to get there every day and make grades good enough to get myself out of there.
Yeah.
And so I wonder nowadays, what is it that's filling that void for kids in school, and so for you to be out there really advocating for that and,
Mhm.
spreading that message is wonderful and
Thank you. Yeah.
very
I
much
think
needed.
I think the schools are, I mean, they do the best that they can, but
Mhm.
everything is geared towards like reading and not hands-on stuff and
Mhm.
not being creative, and it's geared toward another direction of people than when we were growing up.
Mhm.
um, but yeah, it's very interesting because those are the people that will change the world, you
Right.
know um, the main people anyway, is the people that think more with their right brain than their left.
Mhm.
And you know pe- th- right now is the national dyslexia month, which I didn't even know about
I
until
didn't
the
either.
other day.
Mhm.
And I actually, it's interesting because I started doing a little bit of research on it. And just because of, like, when you're in the studio, like singing certain notes, or um, remembering lyrics on stage. I don't know if you have issues with that, but I do.
Yes, I do.
Um, that's like a nightmare of mine. I don't know if it's anyone else. What are the lyrics? Um, but I was doing some research, and I have this issue with, like, I don't know my left from my right. Like, if you were to be like turn left, I'm like, it's the one that makes the L. Like, okay, it's that way.
Huh.
Um, it's very interesting. And I overheard, I don't know if it was on the radio or somebody said something, and they said, well, if you mix up your left and right often, you could be dyslexic. So I started researching it, and there's a lot of things that I, associate myself with. I'm like, oh boy, here
Mm.
we go. But it's interesting because even um, through the years, whether you have ADD, ADHD, dyslexia, whatever it is, there's such a like self-confidence you can build through music, through accomplishing, getting up on stage and singing or writing a song and stuff like that. So beyond even it being educational, it's one of the pillars of that holds up our society. And self-confidence is, with all this, I don't even know how everyone does the social media stuff and they're in school. The parents really have to be on that, but
Yeah.
can easily break down your self-confidence. So having something to rebuild it is super important. But
Yeah. Oh, truly. I hadn't thought of it that way. And I think so many people who maybe don't come from an arts background or musical background that don't really have that, deeper appreciation for having music education in school or arts education in school. I think sometimes think that, oh, it's just a flowery, take it or leave it skill that people can have, and it's just a little too, I don't know, unimportant, I guess. But
yeah,
the way you've just articulated, one of the deeper needs for that is so amazing. My daughter was diagnosed with ADHD last year, and I think we've known, for
yeah,
years that she, was struggling with this, and the academics are definitely a struggle for her. She's being evaluated for dyslexia as well. But on the other hand, she's wildly creative. I mean, just like
exactly.
wildly creative. She's got the
Mhm.
music, she's got the art, she's got all of these things. And my husband and I have always said, you know, who knows how the academics are going to turn out here. She's got to learn, the fundamental skills that she needs to, get through
Yeah.
life with.
No, I
But
understand. Yeah.
these, individuals who um are learning to manage this, to have that channel where
Yeah.
you can channel that energy, that genius, that side of your mind that does operate at it's not even an optimal level. It's just far above where, many people's minds operate. So having these programs in school are like life saving, and those are the things that these kids are going to build their self-confidence and self-esteem around. And so it's just, man, it's so important.
So is, yeah. And these things, and there's tons of different things that so many people, have issues with that are not compatible with the school and how it's, or the world even. But
Mhm.
Steve Jobs was dyslexic. Thomas Edison was dyslexic. Like the great inventors of our time, of the why we have a lights, it's like
Mhm.
it takes a brain that thinks differently.
Yeah.
And right now in our society, it doesn't support that. And it needs to flip a little bit. But I think as musicians, it is our responsibility to stand up and say, and I'm actually part of the Grammy, the Recording Academy, for advocating to our congressmen and that kind of like political arena to make sure that artists are getting paid their royalties and fighting for better pay on everything, but also
Mm.
to make sure that they understand that, like you said, music isn't just, it's not a reality show. It's not just for TV and Simon, it's
Mhm.
matters so much more than that. It's like it needs to be available
Yeah.
just to children, especially. So,
Yeah,
but
most definitely. And so your organization is called Make Music Temecula. How do people become involved in the program? How do you do your fundraising? How do you, are you looking for volunteers, or tell me more about
yeah.
that?
Yeah, so we're a 501(c)(3). We got that last year, so we're super excited because there is a difference between nonprofit and 501(c)(3). So that means more people will, get involved, businesses and whatnot. So last year we did like a Christmas singing telegram where people could buy, and then, we'd send out different artists to go and, sing and just kind of put music into the community. But we are a chapter of Make Music Day, or Make Music Alliance is the parent chapter. And they have chapters in different cities. In California, I think there's only 4 chapters. Um, so with their help, we have a lot of um, tools to put on different events and give out free instruments, like through Fender. And like one year we gave out like 250 harmonicas. And it's so cool to see like the parents and the kids and they're playing. It's just like such a cool, you don't see that a lot, of
Yeah.
kids and parents coming together and having genuinely good time and laughing. And, you always see them on their phone, whatever. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, it's driving me crazy.
Yeah.
But yes, volunteers. We have a website, makemusictemecula.org, and we have a sign up there. We are a nonprofit and we're part of them, so we do our own stuff. And then every June 21st on the summer solstice is Make Music Day all around the world. It actually started in France, so literally is happening all over the world. And it's really fun because the goal is super simple and it's really hard to explain to people because it's so simple. We just want people to make music on that day, whether
Yeah.
that's you blaring your radio or learning to play a new instrument or getting together and doing a drum circle or whatever it is, anything that has to do with music, to just like jump in it on that day and just
Mm.
submerge yourself in music. And then of course we have our own events as well, where we have artists performing here and there throughout the city. But yeah, and we actually, the whole Temecula got behind us, and we declared June 21st Make Music Day in Temecula. Next will be the county, and then next I'm shooting for Make Music Day California. So I mean, it's one of my passions, and I think it is because I didn't have it when I was
Yeah.
in middle school, and I got into a lot of trouble because I didn't have music, and then I got music, and wow, okay, the world changed and opened up. So
Yeah.
that's part of my purpose too, I think. But
Yeah. Oh man, well done. I put the link, the
thank you.
makemusictemecula.org, in the comments. So if you're listening and you'd like to get involved with that program, you can find it there, and just really want to acknowledge you again for, being a part of that and contributing that to the world. It's so, so important. Um, so you have some upcoming dates that you're performing as well. It looks like well, first of all, tell me about the new songs coming out.
Okay, we had there's a very special guest going to be part of the new single,
Mhm.
which now is delaying the single, but I'm okay with this because
Okay.
of
It must be a
so
good one.
I'm like, we will do whatever you want to do. So what we're doing is there is someone doing remixes of I Am Woman. So those are going to come out this month. And then we'll have a little bit of a time. We're going to be in writing, zone and holiday kind of music. And then the first quarter of 2023 will be the album that comes out. So that's what we're working on right now. It's super exciting. Hopefully, there will be more friends that
Mhm.
join on this endeavor. But yeah, I feel really excited about what's coming, and there's already a few songs that we've written that I'm like, I feel like it's a whole I am literally living a Pearl's life. Like I've been in this shell for so long, and I'm opening
Mm.
up what I want to apparently. So it's my time to do this and talk about things that people don't talk about, you know?
Yeah, that's
So
great. And these are songs that, uh, they're your originals and
yeah,
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 that's great. Oh,
yeah.
I'm looking forward
So
to that. That's
digging deep
great.
on this, a lot of meditating.
Mhm.
Yeah, it'll be
Awesome.
fun.
And you also have a date coming up at Humphreys on the 28th, and what band is that with?
That's with Soul Cows. So that's the 10 piece, which you're very familiar with, a large band. So much fun. We played there before. And yeah, it's a couple days before Halloween. So we're kind of doing like a 70s theme for the band. And we're having a costume
Great.
contest for whoever decides to come. So you're more than welcome to come down. Covers, I think, $12 or something. So, but
Yeah,
yeah,
very
super
cool.
fun.
Humphreys is always a great time.
Oh, it's
Always love
great.
it there. And then, December 17th, Ontario Rain. What's happening there?
So yes, so one of the biggest games of the year, it's called the Teddy Bear Toss. So I will be doing a fundraiser, getting Toys for Tots bears basically, and I'm singing the national anthem.
Ah,
We're looking for sponsors for that as well, and your stuff will be up everywhere Ontario Rain. So if you're interested, and basically you take all the bears and everyone throws them on the ice, like in the is it halftime? I'm so sorry. Like I suck with all those sports and what is what. But
you're asking the
they
wrong
throw
person.
it's so I know, it's so cool. I did it a few years back and it's just so awesome. And again, it's like this giving back situation and all the teddy bears that go. And we have a giant bear that is
Mhm,
gonna be thrown over the ice. So that will be super fun. But my goal is to get 500 bears to be, donated.
mhm.
But
Great. That's
yeah.
wonderful. Well, as we kind of start wrapping up here, the final question that I want to ask you, just knowing the journey that you've had and all of the amazing projects that you're a part of, the grit, the stamina, just the self-esteem, just the empowerment that requires that. Tell me what makes you unstoppable.
Wow. What makes me unstoppable is being able to wake up every morning and helping one other person via music. Even it doesn't
Mhm,
matter. It's that's my purpose. So that's what fuels me. And when that happens, I go looking for another one. So
mhm.
there's so many people to help through music.
Yeah. Oh, I love that answer. That's incredible. Thank you so much, Joanna, for taking the time to do this. It was so great talking
Thank
to
you.
you. I hope I get to catch up with you really soon at the Center for Spiritual Living and see what's going on with the fam over there. But
Yes.
I'm here for you. I'm cheerleading behind the scenes for you all the time, and will do anything I can to support your mission and everything that you're doing. And I've posted all of your website link, your social media links in the comments. So anywhere in particular people should start checking you out? Are you mostly on Instagram, or what's your big
Yeah.
platform?
I mean, Instagram and that, feeds in, but I mean, obviously mostly on there. And then my website, if you go and, put in your information and get on the mailing list, then you'll be the first to know everything for sure because we have an
Mhm.
email that goes out. That's the easiest way. Who knows what platform will be tomorrow? Email
Right.
is king.
I know. You never know. You never know.
No,
But again, thank you so much. So good
thank
catching up
you.
with you. Thanks for doing this. And thanks to everybody who joined us live tonight. I'll be back here again next Wednesday. My guest next Wednesday is Charlene Carmen. So that is going to be a great one. So I hope you will join us then. And we've got a lot of really cool announcements coming up in the Unstoppable Singer world. So I hope you will stay on board and keep following us. And until next week, everybody have a great night. Good night.